Okay, let's talk about AI, artificial intelligence. It is everywhere, right? It's in the headlines, it's on our phones, but it's also wrapped up in a ton of mystery and buzzwords. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to pull that curtain back and demystify the whole thing, from the absolute ground floor to what's coming just around the corner. So let's start with a big question. AI is all around us, but what is it? Like, really, beyond the hype, what are we actually talking about? We're going to break it all down, piece by piece, so you can walk away from this feeling like you've got a real handle on this incredible technology.
All right, let's build a solid foundation first. At its very core, AI is just technology that lets computers and machines, well, act a little more human. We're talking about things like learning from experience, figuring out tricky problems, making decisions, and even getting creative. This definition, this is our ground zero for everything else we're about to cover.
Now, to really get this, I want you to picture one of those Russian nested dolls. You know, where you open one up and there's a smaller one inside and another one inside that? That's the perfect way to think about AI. There are different layers, each fitting inside the other. This analogy is going to be our map for the next little bit. And here they are, our nested dolls all laid out. See? AI is the biggest, the outermost doll. You crack that open, and inside you find machine learning. Go another layer deeper and you hit deep learning. And right there in the middle, the smallest doll that everybody is buzzing about right now is generative AI. So let's start peeling back these layers one by one. So, that first layer we open up is machine learning, or ML. Now the idea here is a total game changer. Instead of a programmer sitting down and writing code for every single possible thing that could happen, they just feed an algorithm a ton of data. And the algorithm learns to spot the patterns all on its own so it can make predictions. It learns instead of just being told what to do. But how does it learn? Well, one of the most important ways is through something called an artificial neural network. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a system that's modeled after the way the neurons in our own brains are all connected. You can think of these as the basic brain cells for a lot of AI. Okay, let's go to the next doll. We're digging deeper. So if machine learning uses those neural networks, deep learning just uses a lot more of them, all stacked up in layers. That's literally where the name comes from. The deep part just means it has a deep stack of these layers, which gives it the power to handle way more complex decisions.
And you can really see the difference right here. A classic neural network, it's pretty simple, just a layer or two doing the work. But a deep neural network, whoa, it is way more complex. We're talking hundreds of layers sometimes. And it's that depth, that complexity, that gives it the power to do amazing things, like understand human language or spot your face in a photo.
And now, we've made it to the very center, the innermost doll, generative AI. This is the magic behind tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney. And here's what makes it so special. It doesn't just analyze data that already exists. It uses everything it's learned from its deep learning brain to create something totally new. An essay, a piece of music, a picture, you name it. So how does it actually pull this off? You can think of it as a three-step dance. First, it gets trained. And I mean trained on an absolutely massive, unbelievable amount of data. That builds its general knowledge, its foundation. Second, it gets fine-tuned for a specific job, like being a helpful chatbot. And third, it starts generating content. And humans are constantly checking that content to help it get even smarter and more accurate. Okay, enough theory. We've unpacked all the nested dolls. Now, let's talk about where this stuff actually pops up in the real world. Let's bring it from theory to reality, because I promise you, it's in a lot more places than you probably think.
The benefits? Well, they're huge. At a high level, AI is amazing at automating all those boring, repetitive tasks, which frees up people to be more creative. It can sift through data at a speed we can't even imagine, finding patterns that lead to better, faster decisions. It also cuts down on simple human mistakes, can work 24/7, and can even keep people out of harm's way by taking on dangerous jobs.
Here's a perfect example you've probably seen yourself. Ever get a text from your bank asking if you just bought something in a city you've never been to? That's AI. It's working behind the scenes 24/7, learning your spending habits so it can spot something fishy and protect you from fraud. It's like a little invisible security guard for your money.
Or what about Netflix or Amazon? That recommended for you section isn't just a lucky guess. It's machine learning in action. And AI is analyzing everything you've ever watched or bought to make a really good prediction about what you might love next. It's what makes those services feel so you.
And it's totally changing how businesses work too. I mean, take hiring. Instead of a person having to read through a mountain of 1,000 resumes, an AI can scan them all in seconds. It can find the best matches for a job description, freeing up the human recruiters to focus their time on talking to the really promising candidates.
Now, with all of this amazing power comes some very serious responsibility. AI isn't just a magic wand. We'd have to be really smart and really careful about the risks. And this part of the conversation, it's absolutely crucial.
This right here, this is the core dilemma of AI. Its greatest strength is all the data it learns from, but that data is also its biggest weakness. If the data you feed an AI is biased, or incomplete, or just plain wrong, then the AI's decisions are going to be biased, incomplete, or wrong. Garbage in, garbage out.
So, to fight those risks, the people building this technology are focusing on these core ethical principles. We need AI to be explainable, right? So we know why it made a certain choice. It has to be fair, so it doesn't amplify human biases. It needs to be robust, so it can't be easily tricked or attacked. We need accountability for when things go wrong. And, of course, it has to protect our privacy. These are the guardrails for building AI we can actually trust.
Okay, we've covered the what, the how, and the why. So now, let's look to the future. What's the next big leap? What's just over the horizon for AI? First off, a really important distinction. Every single piece of AI that exists today, Siri, self-driving cars, all of it, is what we call weak AI or narrow AI. That means it's incredibly good at one specific task. But that's it. The strong AI you see in the movies, the kind that's self-aware and has human-level intelligence across the board, that's still pure science fiction for now. We are not there.
So if that's not what's next, what is? The actual next step is something called agentic AI. Okay, so think of these as autonomous little helpers. They don't just answer your questions or give you information, they can actually go out and do things for you to help you reach a bigger goal.
And this quote just nails the difference perfectly. A generative AI today, like a chatbot, can tell you the best time to climb Mount Everest. An AI agent can tell you that, and then go book the flights, reserve the hotel, and sort out the logistics for you, all on its own. It's the leap from just providing knowledge to actually taking action.
And that really brings us to our final thought here. As this technology moves from being a tool that we have to use to an agent that acts on our behalf, the possibilities are just staggering, and it leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As AI gets ready to act independently, what's the very first thing you would ask it to do for you?